Welcome back to the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield and the Oakland County area's live daily news and talk show. 90 minutes of news and talk each and every morning about our communities right here in Oakland County. I'm Tyler Kieft alongside my co-host Dave Scott as we go through each and every one of these stories every single day. And Dave, a story that's really taking a toll right now in our local area, but also nationally, has been auto thefts. They're on the rise across the nation, and just between late May and late June, Southfield Police Department had reported over 20 car thefts in their community alone. And this is happening with cars of all different kinds, cars of all different technologies, and then not just crimes of opportunity. They're also crimes of circumstance too. And there's a great article in the Southfield Sun that is a publication, much like here in the Greater West Bloomfield community in the West Bloomfield Beacon. It's their version of that through CNG News. Great reporting being done, if you haven't taken a look at that, by Kathy Pentuk from the Southfield Sun late in the month of June, talking about this issue. And technology is playing a big factor in it, as those that are stealing these vehicles are not only doing it the old-fashioned way, whether walking into your car that's unlocked and maybe, for example, hot wiring the car. They're using USB devices in some foreign models such as Kia and Hyundai vehicles. And some are even going as far as using their technological prowess to find and reprogram your key fob to get into the vehicle. But often, this is what happens in most cases, is that the thieves are not going into creative measures and technological measures to steal your vehicle or steal your goods. It's simply because they can. It's right there, right in front of them, and they have the opportunity to do so. That's unlocked vehicles. That's vehicles with windows wide open that you can reach into and unlock the vehicle. And that happens all across many of our communities right here in the Greater West Bloomfield area. We hear about it so often, even in places like Keego Harbor, and we have Chief John Fitzgerald scheduled to be on with us here in just a few minutes. You're seeing some of these cars in parking lots, windows are open. That is a big opportunity for a lot of these individuals to get into cars, or simply, was even noted in this article, Chief Aaron Hughley from the Southfield Police Department had said, even if there are two identical vehicles right next to each other, and both vehicles are in the same circumstances, safety measures or hardening your vehicle, such as putting a steering wheel lock, could be the difference between them going for your vehicle versus the identical vehicle right next to it. So Dave, there are plenty of ways that we can protect our vehicles in our communities each and every day. As I had mentioned, some of these thieves taking creative measures to get into these vehicles, and others simply just taking the opportunity that is in front of them to take whatever they can get at whatever time they can get it. Come back to me.
Hello, can you guys hear me now?
Sorry about that, Dave. Yes, we can hear you
Can
just
you hear
fine,
me?
Dave.
Okay, very good. Thank you very
Yes.
much. So I was trying to get my microphone working, so I wasn't listening to what you were saying. A minute ago, when I was trying to speak in and contribute here, you were talking about people hacking fobs. And I think Chief Fitzgerald's, I think he's here. We'll get to him in just a second. But you're telling me people are actually hacking fobs and breaking into cars that way?
Yeah, they're either breaking into cars and then then they're going and reprogramming the fobs. According to this article from the Southfield Sun, Chief Hughley in Southfield had said that it's mostly been in some foreign vehicles like Kia and Hyundai vehicles. They're using technology, utilizing the technology in the key fobs and computers and other various techniques, as was mentioned, to reprogram those fobs to be able to do all the functions you do with your key fob each and every day. Sure. Typically, and he said this was discovered by criminals, that steering columns, there's an element to them with a USB that they connect to in some cases and use these various technologies. So that's in some select vehicles. That's not a widespread problem, according to these reports and others that I've read on this issue.
Well,
so
we have the guest
to be all too concerned about.
We have an expert who knows really more about this. Chief Fitzgerald from Keego Harbor joins us now. Chief, good morning. Welcome to the Splash Live. Thank you very much for being patient with us. Thank you for joining us. So apparently, auto thefts are a little bit of a problem here, not only just in your municipality, but here across Oakland County. And is this true that the criminals have figured out a way to hack fobs and then they can open up our locks?
Well, luckily in Keego, we haven't had that problem. I'd almost defer to Chief Hughley in Southfield for that, but I've heard something about key fobs being able to be hacked. I don't know how you do it. In our city, the few things we've had have been more of crimes of opportunity. If it's mostly unlocked cars and people leaving keys in cars and just being careless with it.
Well, you've got that, and we certainly want, listen, I'm an old guy, right? I grew up, and back in the early 70s when I was a kid, in the mid 70s when I was getting my driver's license, we left the door locked at the house, and we left the keys in the car. And I know it probably wasn't even a good practice, Chief, back then. But now it's a ridiculous notion, unfortunately, in the society we live in today to do that. But you're telling me people are still leaving keys in their car.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest problems. And I don't know that you're even as old as I am, but I've had a habit of locking my car since I was in when I first got my driver's license, wearing a seatbelt and locking my car and locking our house door. And usually we've had a couple of strings of thefts from automobiles in Keego and the surrounding neighborhoods, West Bloomfield, Orchard Lake, Sylvan Lake. It just tends to hit at the same time. And all of them have been crimes of opportunity where somebody didn't lock their door, left their wallet, their phone, their purse, their laptop or whatever on their, and unfortunately in a couple of cases, a gun in a car, which was stolen but eventually recovered. But like I say, it's crimes of opportunity. Lock your car door, and it hasn't been happening to the people with the locked car doors in Keego.
All right, so there's no question you can take action, and then of course have the opportunity to diminish this. I know Tyler wants to chime in here, so I'll get out of his way. Tyler.
Yeah, Chief, what was also mentioned in this article from the Southfield Sun by Chief Hughley was a so-called hardening your vehicle can also help to make it less attractive in some ways to certain criminals that may be looking to steal from inside of a car or steal your car altogether. When he mentions hardening a vehicle, what are some of these techniques that people can employ that may or may not make their car less likely to be one that's broken into or one that's a target for various kinds of theft?
Well, a couple of things you can do, and not everybody can do it because they have too much stuff in their garage, but park in their garage. Shut the garage door. Once again, overemphasize, lock the car doors. Remove all your valuables. Don't leave your laptop in the backpack on the back seat just because you think you're going to run inside I'm only going in for an hour. It'll be okay. Or leave a purse inside a car. If you have to leave something in a car, make sure it's somewhat hidden, that you cover it up, that you have a blanket in a car, so if you throw it on the floor in the back seat, you can just put something over it to make it not as visible, because the visibility and the access to it is what makes those crimes of opportunity the biggest. I think I said, put the car in the garage. If you park in the driveway, have some kind of lights on in your driveway. Maybe have a sign on your lawn that you have a Ring camera or some other security cameras, so they know their car is being surveilled by camera. That helped us with our last set of larceny from autos, is we got some decent video of some of the suspects. So they can be careless also. Roll up the windows on the car, and like I said, most of it is taking the valuables out and locking the car.
Chief John Fitzgerald with us on the Splash Live today, talking about larceny from autos in our community and other forms of car theft that we're seeing, not just in Keego Harbor or in the Lakes area, but in neighboring areas all throughout Oakland County. And Chief, when there is a theft from a vehicle, whether it is just a simple break-in or someone stealing goods from in the car, what steps are then being taken by local law enforcement in partnership with those that have been victimized by these crimes? And in those cases that steps can be taken to investigate and hopefully find these individuals, what is the likelihood that law enforcement would be able to do that after the fact, that there aren't those other measures in place necessarily, like Ring cameras in your driveway?
Well, it's often a pretty hard crime to follow up on. It's done under the cover of darkness usually, or quickly, somebody just walking down the street. But the things we would like you to do is, if you have something stolen or your car is broken into, make a report to us. We see it a lot that somebody will go onto Facebook and go on one of the neighborhood Facebook sites or a community Facebook site, and they'll complain that something was stolen out of their car, but we don't hear about it because we can't monitor all these Facebook sites to know what's going on. We need to know about it so that we can start putting a plan in action, that we can increase our patrols in a certain area, that we can be on the lookout for something. Our detectives and our officers, if we have a string of these larcenies from auto, they're going to go through the neighborhood, and it might not be your Ring camera, but it might be your neighbor's Ring camera that catches something. And if we notice that there's cameras on houses around yours, we're going to go try and get information. If the person there can help us out, we're going to ask to see if we can get some video on that. And sometimes that'll help us. But if we don't know the crime happened, yes, the crime still happened, you lost your stuff, but we have no way to go to work and follow it up. So report it to the police if it happens, and then we can start taking our investigative steps for it. And other things we've done is we've gotten information from pawn shops when they try to pawn things. There's I didn't even realize this till last year. They now have they're all like ATMs where you can sell your cell phone back to, and they'll try and sell these cell phones at those things. And just so the crooks know, those companies are very good in working with the police with at the kiosks for the cell phone buybacks, because you have to put your ID in and a thumbprint, and the companies are pro law enforcement and pro or anti-crime, so they'll give us a hand on that.
Well, Chief, you set a great example for all of us. I appreciate the fact that you locked your door, put your keys away, and put your seatbelt on every day, and that's good. And we all need to do that. Sometimes we all forget a little bit, so good reminder. Real quick before we go, we only got a couple of seconds left. How's it going with the new cell phone law? There's a new law in the state of Michigan that you just cannot be touching your cell phone. That has gone into effect. Are you having to enforce that? What are you seeing out in the patrols?
Well, it's just getting underway. I think it's about 10 days old now. I've personally noticed less people on their cell phone, but they're still out there. Unfortunately, I have not been in my patrol car when I've seen the people on their cell phone to be able to make a traffic stop on it. But everybody should remember that it is a primary offense. An officer doesn't have to see any other offense by the driver in order to pull them over. As long as you have the cell phone in your hand, that you could be stopped and given a ticket. And we just want to enforce that to make the roads safer. I mean, there's just been some serious tragedies. Besides the serious tragedies of crashes and deaths involved with it, it's also the irritation. You've probably been behind that person at the traffic light, and all of a sudden the light turns green, and you're sitting there trying to decide how long before you honk at this guy because they're on their cell phone and didn't realize that the light had turned on them.
No, it's a mess. And you got that, and then, we got construction going on right now. You had construction, you're on the phone, you're busy, you're not thinking. It's just like, forget it. Put the phone down. But I just wanted to see if you've been encountering that. And I know that it might take people a couple of weeks to get the word, but we really hope that everybody doesn't use their cell phone. And with more of the cars with the in-dashboard display should make it a lot easier for people.
Well,
Chief, thank you very much. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm glad you brought up the cell phone, because I think not everybody knows it went into effect. And your other thing was the construction, because we're about to undergo some serious construction delays, I think, in Keego Harbor and Orchard Lake, with the closing of Commerce Road at Orchard Lake Road until about, I think they say August 30th. So you're going to have to find the ways around that area.
It's going to be a handful. We'll continue to report on it as we have. Chief, thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate it. And we'll check in with you again. Have a great day. Say hello to everybody in Keego for us today, all right?
You're welcome, Dave. You have a great day, too. Enjoy the nice weather.
Thank you very much, Chief of Police Chief Fitzgerald in Keego Harbor.